Welcome everybody. We are here in May on another beautiful day, and we're going to go ahead and start off with fellowship. We do honor the word by doing what it commands, and so as you can see up here,
thank you so much.
We welcome the new people here as well. Donna, have them sit on that side. There you go.
So that's what I was going to ask.
There you go. Perfect. So we do honor the word. So you can see here we do what the scripture tells us to be doing. So right out of 1 Corinthians, it says, "So then, brethren, be zealous to prophesy, and forbid not to be speaking in tongues." And so we do. And so we start off on, when I do fellowship here, I like to do it first so that we can open up with the word, hear from Yahweh, okay? And then we'll go on. And if anybody has any questions afterwards, we'll go over this and discuss it even more. But I'm going to open up here, and then we'll go ahead and hear from Father. Yahweh, we thank you for this opportunity to be here this evening, to go through your word, to be able to decipher the things, the wonderful things that you have placed before us, that we are to continually glean, to shine ourselves, and help each other as iron sharpens iron, that we are here to help each other, to lift each other up. We thank you for that. Thank you for the words that you give to us, that we're able to speak these and freely be able to do this, and for us to be encouraged, to stand out in faith, for it is well-pleasing for you, Father, for you to see your children walk out in faith. So we thank you for that. Thank you for the words that you have, and for this wonderful week, and for blessing every believer here. Would you speak this in your Son's name, Christ Jesus? So for anybody who would like to manifest, please go ahead and do it.
Sakon chuma lisene kula message ko tin do chemi tai no masini kolis ni chui no lasini kolis ni do toy no masone kitchen ni sone to ya ramasini toy sinu chukai malasune kochi na yo rabasi na kochai. My children, put me first. I tell you about all the false idols and stuff, and you may believe that they're actually idols, like made of wood or stone. My children, anything can be an idol. Your phone, a book, somebody else. They point you away from my word. Anything can be a false idol or be more important to me, my children. Don't let anything be more important to me. Amen.
Lemonot barco homa hat yama the shimoto bala ballet the medicine mana nen the baran to coca honya manari shimoto body some the day. Put you on a path, I put you on a straight narrow path, and it's right in front of your eyes, and you're walking down the path, but there's a crossroad. There's a crossroad. But you need to board that up. It's dangerous. It's too dangerous. You can't go down that and expect to find your way back onto the normal path. You can't go down that just for a little bit. Just for a little bit. No, you're going to go down that and you won't be able to find your way back. You'll fall into a pit and you won't be able to crawl your way back up. So just ignore that path, board it up so others don't fall into the pit. And go back on your path I've set you on.
Empirical met borkai shikite nana aya. Ashendaka aya met paroposa ban berakitina kentola kaya Michael. Let your light shine, my children. Let that light shine. Not just so that others see the light in you, but so that they can use that light to find their way. Know that there is no fear and no confusion in me. No, there's no confusion in my words. If you follow my words and attempt to do what is right, what I have requested of you, you will receive many treasures. And know you will also never get lost.
My sons and daughters, as you see your body and you become aware of how your body operates and works, and how your thoughts will direct your body for you to move your hand or to move your leg, and it becomes natural to where you don't even realize it. You don't even contemplate that a signal is being sent for each one of these movements. So is my son, your head. And as he directs your path to do the same thing, that it becomes secondary, that it's not even thought about, that it's just to just walk through these motions and go through these motions, that you are obedient unto the things you've been called to, for the labor that has been placed before you, that you are to serve and be working in my paths.
My children, there is a straight path and there's a big rocky path. My children, the straight path looks short, but the big rocky path looks longer. My children, Believing in me and trusting in me is not going to be easy. It's like a rocky path. But not believing in me will be easier because you can just go on a straight path. My children, take the rocky path and take the hard way.
I lay before you choices each day. It's up to you whether you choose me. Many times it's not real clear and you're just walking along, but just consider all these things, that you have choices and you get to choose me and choose obedience. And if you prepare yourself this way, then you will be prepared for the positions where you might have to choose me over friends or family members. And as you do so, I will fortify and strengthen you. And what sometimes feels like loss will actually be gained. You'll be gaining so much more because I'm the only one that has always been there for you. And the people that are going to come into your life are for times and seasons. And so choose me. And if you prepare yourself, it'll make your decision a lot easier.
Yahweh, we thank you for these words and for everything you've given to us and all this in your Son's name. Amen.
Hallelujah.
All right. So we will be using this Bible here, okay, Rotherham, and we'll go ahead and get started off here. So we're going to be doing a little teaching, a little sharing here tonight about pursuit of wisdom and the desire for wisdom. So this guy here, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but he dates way back. He was a Roman guy. He said, where fear is present, wisdom cannot be. And so this is always something when we're looking at that. Fear, and I've taught that before, fear is the exact opposite of faith. Where fear comes in, faith goes out. And so think of it as a pulley system. When one comes in, it pushes the other out. And when faith comes in, it pushes the fear out. Okay? And so we always have to realize that. It's the same thing with wisdom. We're not going to be doing things, if we're doing things out of fear, we're probably not going to be doing things that are very wise. So, wisdom and knowledge. I always love this one here. You know, Yahweh, give me the lottery numbers for tonight. I need this wisdom. Okay? And this is something that people will actually, it's kind of funny, you guys laugh about this, but when I was going through and looking for some of the graphics for this, there were actual web pages on how to pray to win the lottery. And I actually had to go to them to be like, are you serious? And somebody put together something on this. Here's how you pray to win the lottery. And I'm like going, that's kind of funny because if that's how you're doing it to pray, I'm thinking you're probably not tricking Yahweh. So Benjamin Franklin, which I love, and he has a ton of good quotes. If a man had half his wishes, he would double his troubles. And you think about that in our lives if we did, because so many times the things that we think will make us happy actually don't. Okay? Or if we think that we have an abundance of it. I mean, think about that when you go and indulge. If you go into an all-you-can-eat ice cream shop, okay, and you just, oh my gosh, here comes 36 scoops of ice cream in this huge tray, and you two-spoon it, just start going to town, okay, yeah, it sounds good, it's not going to be. Okay, so let's start off here, and we'll go to 2 Chronicles. You see here to the side, I put the pages in here. It's Old Testament, page 437, to kind of help us out a little bit, speed up the time. So 2nd book of Chronicles, chapter 1, verses 7 through 10 on page 437. And Isaiah, you want to read that for me?
Yep, 7 through 10.
7 through 10, please.
During the night, Yahweh appeared to Solomon, and he said to him, Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said to Yahweh, Thou thyself didst deal with David, my father, in great hesed, and hast made me king in his stead. Now, O Yahweh Elohim, let thy word with David, my father, be brought to pass. For thou hast made me king over a people for multitude, like the dust of the earth. Now wisdom and knowledge give thou unto me, that I may go out before his people, and may come in. For who can judge this thy people, that is so great?
Excellent. Very good. Okay, so what we're looking at here is we see two things together that he is asking for. He's asking for wisdom and knowledge. Okay, so we're going to kind of dissect that a little bit as we go through. Because the whole pursuit is to increase wisdom. To increase wisdom. And so that's what the push is for. Wisdom and knowledge. And so this is out of the Strong's Concordance. So this is the New King James with the Strong's. I removed some of them just for sake of size on here. But you see this now, give me wisdom and knowledge. So we see 24:51 and 40:93. And here it is right here. Hakmah, okay, is wisdom. Okay, now you're not going to see too much in there. It's just skill, wisdom, shrewdness. Okay, what's the difference? What's the difference between wisdom and knowledge? Okay, and we're going to go through this. We're going to take a look at this. Knowledge here is madah. Okay, and again, you see this. This is thought, mind, thought, place of knowledge. It doesn't really mean anything here yet. So as we put this together, two things asked for, and not for the treasures. And so I don't have to read the rest. We've all read this of what Yahweh did because of what he asked for. He was looking for righteousness. Wisdom and knowledge was to bless the people, not to bless him per se. Okay, but by doing this, Yahweh was pleased and gave him all of it. He gave everything. Okay, so let's go on here. Wisdom and knowledge. Knowledge, the accumulation of facts and data that you have learned about or experienced. It's being aware of something, having something. Knowledge is really about facts and ideas that acquired through study, research, investigation, observation, and experience. Okay, a mouthful. Again, what are we differentiating here? Here's wisdom. Ability to discern and judge which aspects of the knowledge are true, right, and lasting. The first part of that, ability to discern and judge, okay, is what we're looking at here with wisdom. That's the most prevalent point of it. Lasting, applicable to your life. It is the ability to apply that knowledge to a greater scheme of life. It's also deeper, knowing the meaning or reason about knowing why something is and what it means in your life. This is completely away from the Word. Okay, this definition that I pulled this up, nothing to do with the Word. Okay, and so when we're applying this to the Word, it's going to have different meanings. Okay, and I'm going to go over that. So wisdom is basically good judgment. So, knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not putting it into a fruit salad. Okay, now, everybody knows that. Well, yeah, why would you do that? Well, it is a fruit, so why can't it go in there? Because it'd be horrible. Okay, that's not a good idea. Anybody's ever thought that? It'd be like, well, if you went to fruit salad, you saw tomatoes, they're going to be like, scoop them out. I like tomatoes, but not here. Okay, so when I was in Michigan, I was just starting to cook, and we had a friend, remember Tom Turbo? He wanted to make chili one day, and so we got a recipe, and we're going to make chili. It's winter, so it'll be perfect, we'll make chili. So we go and get all the ingredients, and we're reading through the recipe. And we're all intelligent people. We can read the recipe.
You're in our military.
We did not understand the difference between a clove of garlic and a bulb of garlic. So when it called for 3 cloves of garlic, we put 3 bulbs of garlic, and we all were like going, man, that's a lot of garlic. But we all agreed we like garlic. So we put it in there, and we're like going, oh, and it smelled the whole house up. The cats were running for the rooms, okay, and we did. And then when we get done and we go to sample it, okay, so the knowledge was missing because we didn't know the difference between bulb and clove. Thank you. I do now. Okay. The wisdom was, we're not eating this garbage. We're not going to eat this. It's horrible. Okay. But it did have the ingredients. But the difference is, it's applying it. It's applying it. And so here's a person right here, Stephen Hawkins. Okay. Died not too long ago. He did a whole lot of his work to prove there is no Elohim. There is no creator. Very, very smart guy. Knowledge, all the way to the top. Wisdom, not existent. Not existent. Okay, so my point is, when we're looking at this, okay, here's another example. Here's a supercomputer. Probably every bit of data ever collected is within that room right there. Okay? Wise? Absolutely not, because it has no judicial benefits to it. It cannot make those decisions. Okay, and so as when we're looking at that, so somebody who does not have what a person would recall or would say has a lot of intellect can be a wise person, where a person has great intellect can be a very unwise person. It does not correlate the two of them together. Now they absolutely can, but we shouldn't just automatically, wow, this guy's really smart. Look at him, he's a Rhodes Scholar. Okay, when people used to say Rhodes Scholar, I'm like, well, maybe you should find a home. I mean, for crying out loud, that shows how wise I was. Let's go over to Proverbs 1, okay, on page 609. chapter 1. Okay, I will, who would like to read this for me here?
I will.
Okay, thank you. 1 through 8.
The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, for the knowledge of wisdom and correction, for discerning the sayings of intelligence.
See that? That's the discerning. And that's one of the big things. When we're talking about wisdom, we're talking about the judgment of that. Okay, that's the wisdom of that. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
For receiving the correction of prudence, righteousness, justice, and equity, for giving to the simple shrewdness, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a discreet man wise counsels will acquire. By gaining discernment of proverb and satire, the words of the wise and their dark sayings, the reverence of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge, wisdom, and correction. The foolish have despised. Hear, my son, the correction of thy father, and do not reject the instruction of thy mother.
And that's it. And so that's why I've highlighted it on the screen. That where does it start from? It starts from the knowledge, from the reverence, okay, of Yahweh. That's where it starts to come from. And so when we are in the pursuit of it, and somebody's like, well, I just need this, I just really have to have this, and they've omitted that step, okay? Again, that's omitting the recipe. That's forgetting the critical point, that the first part, the reverence is the beginning of the knowledge. And so that's where we're ever looking at that. If you're talking to somebody, with your friend, this is where we start from. This is a good starting point for the wisdom. Let's flip over here. It's actually at the bottom of this page. And I'll read this. 1 through 6 of Proverbs. My son, if thou wilt receive my sayings, and my commandments will treasure up thee, so that thou direct unto wisdom thy ear. Bend thy heart unto understanding. Yea, if understanding thou cry aloud, for knowledge utter thy voice. If thou seek her as silver, and like hid treasure thou search for her, then shalt thou understand the reverence of Yahweh, which is what? The beginning. The beginning. And the knowledge of Yahweh shall find. For Yahweh hath given wisdom out of his mouth, knowledge and understanding. Okay, and so this is it. This is the pursuit of it. We've gone through some of these before, but as I was preparing for this, I prayed about Yahweh, show me what I need to do, and it just kept coming back and back and back to the wisdom, and seeking it, that we should be seeking greater wisdom. Just do something. Who's ever heard that? Just do something. I always think about that, you're in a grocery store and somebody's blocking the line, like going, move or do something. And I always think to myself, that person with the cart should just turn around and ram their cart right into that person. I just did. Is that the something you wanted? Well, it doesn't mean that doing something is going to be right. And so just to be acting, you look at all the traditions that you could see in old religious things. Okay, not even Christian, but things where people would do things that were really weird. Why are they doing that? Well, because they've always done it. It's doing something. We like the way that feels. It's something good. Okay, and this is it. I thought this was kind of a neat quote from Chuck Swindoll. A saying heard years ago, it doesn't matter what you do, just do something even if it's wrong. That's the stupidest counsel I've ever heard. Never do what's wrong. Do nothing until it's right. Then do it with all your might. That's wise counsel. And I'm like, well, that's it. And we used to hear that in the military. People would say that all the time. Do something even if it's wrong. And I'm like going, well, like turn my gun around towards our people? Is that what you're talking about? I'm like, no, just make a decision. And I'm like going, well, sometimes decisions may take a little bit of time. So that's a quote I thought was good. Wait. Find out what you need to be doing when you need to be doing it. So, this is Friedrich Nietzsche. Faith means not wanting to know what is true. Okay? He's a philosopher. He had a lot of influence on Western civilization. A ton of it. Okay? So, we're going to kind of look at it. We're going to see some of the things that he has done. Who's this guy?
Oh, yeah.
This is a response to Winston Churchill. God is on your side. Is he a conservative? The devil is on my side. He's a good communist. Okay? Now, these are two people that people would say, well, look how powerful they were. They were in charge of so much. Or look how influential. Or how smart they were. Okay? Friedrich Nietzsche, famous for writing, God is dead, we killed him. Okay? If you ever have read this or gone through this, it's actually a pretty interesting read. Because as you go through this, he does not believe in Yahweh. He does not believe in a creator. However, he says, and this was in the 19th century that he did his works, he said that by removing him, by killing God, okay, in other words, there is no God, we're going to get rid of him. That's how he's killed. By doing this, something's got to fill that void. And sometimes what fills that void can be worse. And so even though he was not a Christian, he was an antichrist person, he still knew that by absence of that there would be problems that could arise with that. And he actually wrote about those. So basically, without a creator, there'd be a breakdown of society and violence, and something will fill that void. Here's an interesting fact. Hitler loved his work.
Yep.
One of the things that he wrote in there was people are not equal. Quit trying to treat people equal. They're not. Okay? This group of people may be higher on the socio status than another group of people, and trying to make them equal causes problems. Well, where are we hearing that today? I mean, this is nothing new. Nothing new under the sun. It just keeps circulating back and forth. Hitler saw that. Hitler attached onto that. Hitler loved Nietzsche's work, and it was a big driver. It was a big influence to him. Okay, 20th century. So it's written in the 19th century. 20th century, Marxism, socialism, Leninism, communism. What did they do? Every single one of them was to remove Yahweh. Okay, every single one of them. It's the same thing. Nothing's changed. We still see this today. And now what we're looking at is these are called the new morality. Okay, interesting thing here. Between 1st century and 19th century was less killings than all of the 20th century combined. Okay? 100 million peacetime deaths. This is not counting World War II or any of those other ones. Okay? 100 million peacetime deaths during this. The only thing that surpassed this was disease. That was it. That was the only thing that had more deaths. Okay? And so this is it. And what do? They shut you down. They silence you. The new morality, and that's what we're hearing now, that it's moral to do these types of things. Edmund Burke. But what is liberty without wisdom? And you see his age there. He wrote this long before there was Lenin or Engels or the people who came up with this whole Marxist ideology. But without liberty, without wisdom, and without virtue, it is the greatest of all possible evils. For it is folly, vice, and madness, without tuition or restraint. And so you see these types of things. This is a wise man who saw, without these things, without morality, who was it? Adams that said that this Constitution is for moral people?
Yeah.
Okay, without that, there's no reason. There's absolutely no reason. And so it was by purpose. Flip over to Isaiah on page 652, just a few over. And I'll have one of you kids read that for me if you would. 20 through 21 of chapter 5.
652.
Alas for them who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Alas for them who are wise in their own eyes, and in their own sight are prudent.
That's exactly it. And so we see this when good becomes bad, when bad becomes good. Okay, and this happens this is in Isaiah. They're writing this. This is always that way. Okay, people are going to manipulate it. They're going to turn it. And what happens? Wise in their own eyes. We're supposed to buy into their wisdom. Okay, when we can see that their wisdom is just garbage. 2 Timothy on page 219. And if somebody would like to read that for me too. Chapter 3, verses 1 through 5.
I will.
Thank you.
But of this be taking note, that in the last days there will be in perilous seasons. For men will be fond of themselves, fond of money, ostentatious, arrogant, defamers to parents, unyielding and unthankful, unkind, without natural affection, accepting no truce, given to intrigue, without self-control, uncivilized, unfriendly to good men, traitors, reckless, beclouders, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. I'm sorry, through
And 5.
Well, having a form of godliness, but the power therefore denying.
Oh, that's
From
it.
these things turn away.
That's it. And so of those, so how many did you guys check off there that matched with you? Don't say out loud. Don't say out loud. It's not a competition. But no, this is where we look at this to see what's going to happen. So when we see these things, it's not a shock to us. This is the same old, that we just have to realize that not to be silenced, because the objective is to silence. It's to put you to be quiet. And wow, what a great thing for Yahweh's mouthpiece through Christ to us, that we have that via Christ, that we're speaking these things and we're supposed to be silenced. Well, great. That's exactly what the adversary would want. And so it's to almost turn it up even more during those time frames, to be speaking bold and to be speaking those things, and to be through wisdom to speak things. Quoting the scriptures is the best way to do it. So I just typed this into Google. You see this? The left and the new morality movement. That's all I typed in. Okay? Here's what shows up. New morality. Okay, disregard the first one here. I don't want to piss anybody off. Okay, it's about women getting the right to vote. Okay, that's not the point. But that's what came up. I didn't doctor this. Okay? Next one here. Oh, what's this? Woman and new morality. Margaret Sanger. Okay, the mother of Planned Parenthood and abortion. Okay, a staunch racist. Next one, new morality movement pushes big to silence Christians. Okay, that's from CBN, which is a Christian one. Radical new morality, where will it lead? And if you just look through this here, new morality means America's spotlight. Transgender movement, multiple wives and husbands, polygamous. Okay, this is the same thing. It's to push you that if a church speaks out against these things, we will silence you. We will come down and take it from you. And you're seeing this happen. I listen to teachings on Bot Radio. Oh my gosh. I'm like going, the guy went to seminary, and I'm thinking to myself, you should get your money back. Okay, because you are teaching, you are going to answer for these things. Horrible, horrible deceit against the word. Just going completely against the word and making up excuses now for what we're doing to go along with the new movements. And so when we see those, is to be able to know that and to be wise enough that we can catch that, we can talk to other people about it and explain it to kids. Here's what's happening, here's what's being said. No, we're called haters. We're haters for whatever reason, and intolerant, with the most intolerant people calling us those things. Go to James here, a little more here to the right on 236. Excuse me, would somebody read that for me? 13 through 18, please.
I will. For the judgment will be without mercy unto him.
on the right side. Go over straight to the other side there.
You're on 352.
Oh, okay. Who is wise and well instructed among you? Let him show out of the comely behavior his works in meekness of wisdom. But if bitter jealousy ye have and rivalry in your hearts, be not boasting and showing yourself false against the truth. This wisdom is not one from above coming down, but is earthly, born of the soul, demonical. For where jealousy and rivalry are, there are anarchy in every ignoble deed. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, reasonable, easy to be entreated, fraught with mercy and good fruits, without partiality, without hypocrisy. And a harvest of righteousness with peace is sown by them that make peace.
That's it. And so you see with that in verse 17 is kind of the focal point of that. Obviously above, it's telling for those that are going against this, that this is it's a demonical thing. Well, we know that. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. Okay? But wisdom from above, it is first pure, then peaceable, reasonable, and very easy to be entreated. Okay, so as we go through this, when we are trying to do those things, where we're trying to get wisdom, where we're trying to determine something in the knowledge, if we're not at peace, we're not getting it. Okay, because remember, this is the first thing. And so as we're seeking out greater wisdom, anything that comes through should be in peace. It should be peaceful. Here's a quote here. And the yield of righteousness shall be peace, and the tillage of righteousness, quietness and confidence. 2 times age abiding. And my people shall dwell in a bourne of peace and in habitations of security and in resting places of comfort. Yahweh speaking. Of course, this is out of Isaiah 32. Okay, and so this is where we look at these types of things. That the wisdom will bring peace by knowing those things, knowing what we need to know, and being able to put it in action. Because here's the other thing. Where I told you that knowledge, having knowledge without the wisdom is kind of useless. I mean, you know, it'll help you during your earthly walk, but the wisdom is what's going to actually carry you through. If you have the wisdom and you're not putting it into practice, not a whole lot of difference. Okay? Having it and not doing it is not what Yahweh's giving it to you. So it's the same thing. And this is a struggle with everybody. It's a struggle with me. That you've been given these things. You've been given these to go use and to go do. And if you're not doing that, yep, I know it. And it's, well, why didn't I know that? Why didn't you tell me these things? Okay, then it's a problem because it's to be used. That wisdom has been poured out. There's one of them that was a quote, I didn't put it on here, but said, if you have the wisdom, let others come and light their candle by it. And I'm like going, absolutely, because this is to be shared and to be, the wisdom should spread across because the wisdom that's demonic, it spreads fast too. Okay, and it does the exact opposite to take away the good wisdom. Okay, go back to Proverbs 3. You guys keep a thumb there from the first time we were there, right? Page 610. And I'll read this one here. 610, chapter 3, verses 13 through 21. All right, 13, here we go. How happy the man who hath found wisdom, and the man who draweth forth understanding, for better is her merchandise than her merchandise of silver. Yea, than gold her increase. More precious is she than corals. Yea, none of thy delightful things doth equal her. Length of days is in her right hand, in her left are riches and honor. This is what we're talking about when we're looking back here to 13, or verse 12. 13, where happy is the man who found wisdom. So we're describing happy. These are the things that would be with it. Verse 17, her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. A tree of life is she to them who secure her, and they will hold her fast to every one to her pronounced happy. Verse 19, and in wisdom founded the earth, establishing the heavens with understanding. By his knowledge and with resounding depths were burst open, and the skies dropped down dew. My son, let them not depart from thy eyes. Guard thy counsel and purpose. Okay, and that is it. It was just a little sharing on the pursuit of wisdom. And for all of us, if we ever think that we've maxed out on the wisdom, we're not. Okay? There's always more. And so even with Solomon, who was given all this, there was still more. All his writings that he did, okay? All the things that he wrote, his poems, all the things he did, he was still in constant pursuit. As should we be. It should never be a day that we're not in pursuit of wisdom for what Yahweh has within our lives with other people, that we'll be able to share these things for. By doing this, it gives peace and it gives correction to others. Okay. So I'll go ahead and close here, and I'll have a closing word and a prophecy for any watching. Yahweh, we thank you for the things you've given. We thank you for the peace that you put upon us. We thank you that we are in this battle, that we are suited up, that we are armored up to be called to do the things that you would have us, and that we are seeking these things, that we are seeking to do your desires, checking in with you, and walking out in faith to answer the calling that you give to us. And we continually seek to increase us. We thank you for that, Yahweh. We thank you for the words that you give and for the blessings that you pour out upon us always. And we speak this all in your Son's name, Christ Jesus. My child, I see as playing a game of Scrabble and aligning the board and trying to come up with the words that you want, or the words that are lacking, and you're trying to do it as a bonus to make yourself look that you are more intelligent, or it's hard for me to see what it is, but something that it's a void or a problem that you're fighting against within yourself, and to not to put yourself above these, for simplicity is also within me, that I may be able to give you the desires and the thoughts. And so put away the things of this world, and quit stirring up and looking for answers of the things of this world, for all these will do is open up paths and open up corridors that are not from me, but coming from the wicked one. And so I call you to seek me. If you are not in my word, if you are not reading and studying and seeking me and crying out for me, for the things that I've given to you, directions that I've poured out, then you are not serious about finding me. So come to me on your knees, knowing that if you read in my word and you pray out, I hear these things, and make yourself serious that you may be able to find these, that I may be able to reach down to you, pull you from the pit that you have found yourself in, and give you the answers, and give you peace, and give you knowledge. Amen.